Hi guys, I'm wearing my Hufflepuff shirt to come and chat you up about my new life in England, what I also called Harry Potter land for quite a while. So I've already explained what I'm doing here, but I thought today I could chat you up about what it looks like and what city I'm living in. So I live in a town called Aylesbury. And when I got here, I really wasn't convinced because I originally got dropped off at the train station during the night. It's a lie to say that all travelers get somewhere and they're just excited and everything is fun and beautiful in travels. Like, it's not the case. And my first night in Aylesbury was definitely not the case. I was quite lucky because my mom needed like a break from life at that point, so she came with me for a few days when I arrived in England before I started working, and we hit up a few places. She was with me on that first night and she was a bit underwhelmed too. And as well, our Airbnb setup was not in town center, and it turns out Aylesbury town center is what makes Aylesbury Aylesbury. Like, the place where we were in Aylesbury, which is a bit further off in the town, kind of reminds me of like that dodgy residential place around a Costco. Americans out there and Canadians know what I mean. So basically, I was not convinced. Now I would say I'm quite convinced, but British people always tell me, what? You came all the way from beautiful Canada to live in a crappy place like Aylesbury? Are you mad, woman? Like, they can't believe that I did that, because to British people, Aylesbury is not what they call pretty. But as if I'm clever enough with my editing, you can possibly see now, I think Aylesbury's pretty darn cute. Like, it doesn't look anything like American suburbs or Canadian suburbs. It has nice streets, the buildings are vintage and rich per their architecture. They tell a story of very many different centuries, not decades, centuries. Really, you can see Tudor architecture. See like the brown pillars that you could see through Tudor housing, and you'll see how crooked the buildings are. I find that charming, really. It's super quaint. In America, if a building is crooked, we just tear it down because it's a hazard in our opinion. And in Canada, to be fair, with all the snow we get in winter, it is a hazard. But here, it's just a thing. All the roofs are mossy and crooked, and I think it just adds to the overall charm. Another thing you find in a lot of European cities and towns are markets. And Aylesbury does have a market square, which has a big clock in the center that is always functioning. So that means every hour or so it will tell you what time it is now, which again, I find quite charming. Coming from North America, where that isn't a thing in most towns and cities, I thought it was cute. England is not just a cute place, it's also a functional place. People live here. I live here. We need shopping centers and we need all sorts of different supermarkets, you know, to get our food, and little groceries and, you know, just amenities really. But even those, I think, are quite cute compared to most of the ones I've seen in my home continent. So as you can probably see now, when you go off from the marketplace and you go through the arches, which are picturesque really, I'll try to get a better picture eventually, you come into this wide space that has these new edgy buildings and sculptures, and in there you have like 7 different restaurants and a theater, which here they call cinema. So obviously that's the movie theater. Behind the movie theater you have the actual theater. So yeah, and the cinemas here are pretty cool because you can get limitless cards, which means that you pay a fee per month and you can go to the cinema as often as you wish. And yours truly has that because I'm kind of a movie geek. Honestly, I'm having a great time living here and I don't find it ugly. And yes, I've now visited many other British towns and cities, and I understand what they mean by Aylesbury is not the prettiest. And it isn't. It's not the prettiest because it's very useful. The setup of it is made for people to live and for people to enjoy, not necessarily for people to look at and be in awe over. So I mean, it's successful. it's a really great functional place to live. I live downtown and I can just walk everywhere. I don't own a car here, thing that I would have had so much trouble doing in North America. Yeah, and I mean the transport here is not the most efficient in Europe, like not at all, but we do have like an easy train connecting to downtown London, that is. So it takes about 40 minutes and we're downtown. And then we have a bus that is really express to Oxford, and that's like £4 for the round trip. So honest, I love Aylesbury. Maybe it's not the prettiest British town, but it's my home now. And I like how close it is to these two really cool other cities. And I like how it's set up, and I like the streets of it. So I don't know. I don't regret being here, and I don't regret this being my choice. And to be fair, this ended up being my choice not because I knew Aylesbury before I moved to England. This ended up being my choice because the school that wanted to hire me was in Aylesbury, and I knew I wasn't going to be driving left anytime soon. So I guess this brings us to talking about my job and what teaching in England is like. But this video is going to get excessively long, so I'm going to cut to the chase here. And if you're interested in knowing more about education in England, I can definitely do like a mini series on it where I talk about the ins and outs of it. But yeah, that's my So British life. And well, you've already kind of seen my So British flat, so I'm not going to tour that for you. But hey, any questions about anything I mentioned today or anything you'd like to see more of, let me know in the comments section below, and I promise more is coming once again. Although, you might like to see my So British dog, which actually comes from Romania. Jen, come here, boy. Hello, are you just the worst at filming yourself? Yes. And that's my So British roommate, who's actually Canadian.
Hello.
Hello, Casey. So yeah, that's my So British life. See you soon.